Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, it's already almost 10 minutes after.
Mhm.
Okay. Will the township clerk please read the statement?
Yes. Adequate notice of this regular meeting was provided to the public and the press on January 6, 2023, and was posted at the municipal building in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, JSA 10:4-7.
Okay, please join me as we salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes. Councilmember DeStefano.
Present.
Councilmember Rizzuto. Councilmember Sparta.
Here.
Councilmember Tadrick.
Here.
Council President Bushieri.
Here. Okay, public comments. This public comment portion is for any items on the agenda. If anyone in the public wishes to address any agenda item, please come up to the microphones here and let us know which agenda item you'd be discussing, and you have 3 minutes public comment and just provide your name. May I have a motion to go into public comments?
Move. Second.
Motion made by Ms. DeStasi, second by Mr. Sparta. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the floor is open for anyone who wishes to make a comment regarding an agenda item. Who wants to come forward? No? Okay, anyone virtually that wishes to make a comment?
Yep. Come on up.
Oh, come on up. Yeah.
Because
Come up to the podium up here.
Yeah, come up to the microphones and just state your name and which agenda item are you going to be addressing?
Elaine Reddick, and we had come because we thought there was gonna be a discussion about the pet adoption or the
Animal sanctuary.
Animal
rescue. Thank you.
That's not on today's agenda. No,
And it will be?
I'm shooting for September. Yes.
Okay.
Our September meeting, but thank you.
All right, thanks a lot.
The second public comment portion can be regarding any topic at all, does not have to be on the agenda. So if you want to stay for that and make a comment regarding it, whatever you'd like, you can do that. Okay? I'm sorry, I don't know if you heard what I said. Did you hear what I said? We have another comment portion at the end of the meeting, and that can be regarding any item at all. It does not have to be on the agenda. So if you'd like to stay and make a comment regarding any topic at all, you're welcome to do that. I just wanted you to be aware of that. Okay. All right. You're welcome. Does anyone have an issue they want to discuss in person? No? Virtually, Marcy?
I don't have any hands up.
Okay. All right. And may I have a motion then to close the floor to public?
Close.
comment? Closed first by Mr. Sparta,
Second.
second by Ms. DeStasi. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay. Next item of the agenda is the bills list. All council members received a copy of the bills list and have had a chance to review it. Does anyone have any comments or questions?
I'm sorry, Pat is on now, Council.
Okay, Mr. Rizzuto has just joined the meeting. Thank you. Okay, we're on item number 6, the bills list.
Okay.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments regarding the bills list? No. Okay, Mr. Rizzuto?
No comment.
No, no comments. Okay. Approval of minutes. We have minutes from August 8th, 2023, a special meeting, August 14th, 2023, executive session, and August 14th, 2023, regular meeting. May I have a motion to approve? Actually, you know what? I'm going to do them all at once unless someone wants them broken out.
Can't vote on 2 of them.
You can't, okay, so then we'll do them. Or you can just say abstain from which the dates, okay? From the notes and just note the dates you're going to abstain from, okay? May I have a motion to approve minutes from August 8th, 2023, special meeting, August 14th, 2023, executive session, and August 14th, 2023, regular meeting?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Sparta. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Tadrick. May I have a roll call vote?
Yes. Councilmember DeStasi,
yes on August 8th, and I'll abstain on the 14th.
Council Member Rizzuto,
Yes.
Council Member Sparta,
Yes.
Council Member Tadrick,
Yes.
Council President Bushieri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Consent agenda have several resolutions on today's agenda. I'll read through them, and then once I'm done with that, if any council member wants to remove any and have them voted separately, please just let me know the resolution number. Do you mind closing that door?
I don't think you can close it. We're
No,
in
we
open
can't.
Session
Oh, yeah, we're in open session. Okay,
and ask them to move their conversation outside.
they're going. Thank you. Resolution 23-219, resolution rejecting certain responses to competitive contract CC number 5-2023 for EMS services, Township of Vernon. Resolution 23-220, resolution awarding CC number 5-2023 to Atlantic Ambulance Corporation in a fair and open award for EMS services. Resolution number 23-221, authorizing contracts with certain approved state contract vendors, Northeast Communications, state contracts 83898. Resolution 23-222, authorizing the cancellation of outstanding checks over 6 months old to municipal cash balances. Resolution number 23-23, authorizing contract with certain approved state contract vendor, RICO, under New Jersey State Contract M2075. Resolution 23-224, resolution authorizing leasing of certain vehicles for the Department of Police through Sourcewell National Cooperative number 060-618 EFM through Enterprise Fleet Management Services, Inc., quote number 7403692, one in silver Zenith. There's resolution 24-225, resolution authorizing leasing of certain vehicles for the Department of Police through Sourcewell National Cooperative number 060-618 EFM through Enterprise Fleet Management Services, Inc., quote number 7413445, in agate black. Resolution 23-226, resolution authorizing leasing of certain vehicles for the Department of Police through Sourcewell National Cooperative 060-618 EFM through Enterprise Fleet Management Services, quote number 7413437, one in Oxford White. Resolution 23-227, authorizing the use of Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council for proposed improvements to Sand Hill Road. Resolution 23-228, authorizing the Vernon Township Council to approve a person-to-person transfer of liquor license number 1922-33-009-005. May I have, are there any items that anyone wishes to remove?
Can I have 23-224? Moved out.
23-224, okay. Any, Ms. DeStassi?
No, I'm good.
Mr. Tadrick, Mr. Rizzuto, is there any you'd like removed?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, all right. So may I have a motion then to approve the consent agenda minus resolution 23-224?
Move. Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. DeStassi, second made by Mr. Sparta. Roll call vote.
Councilmember DeStassi,
Yes.
Member Rizzuto,
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadrick,
Yes.
Council President Bushieri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Resolution 23-224, which is a resolution authorizing certain leasing of certain vehicles for the Department of Police through Sourcewell National Cooperative. 060-618 EMF through Enterprise Fleet Management Services. Questions or comments?
You motion first?
Do we need a motion, please?
Moved. Second.
By Mr. Rizzuto, second by Mr. Sparta. Questions or comments?
Yeah, I just want to know why this is a Jeep Grand Cherokee and it's not a police interceptor model or whatever the other ones are. Can you answer that question?
The only thing I know is that the 3 vehicles that are on the resolutions, they're all replacing other vehicles. I don't know which one this is actually replacing. I know that it's with the whole enterprise where they, they just, after every like 4 years or something, they replace. So I don't know exactly which vehicle this one is for.
So that actually brings me to my second point, in that in the future, when we have vehicles like this that are being purchased or leased, can we have what vehicles they are replacing as well? So that way we can link and we know then it's not an additional vehicle that's being purchased or something like that.
Yes, I'll make sure
And is it common for us to have vehicles in our police fleet that are not police interceptor vehicles?
yes, it could be the chief's car. It could be, like maybe one of the detectives' cars, because they don't have to be.
You don't have to transport person.
Right.
Mhm.
Right, so it could have been one of those, unfortunately, I don't know which
Okay.
one this is.
Okay,
We do replace 5 vehicles a year and they're on a 4-year rotation.
But I hear your question.
yeah.
That,
It's just, it was odd to have it on there with 2 other ones that were
Yeah.
police interceptors, that's all.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. If we could just make those changes in the future, it would help. Just a note in the resolution, replacing vehicle number, identification number, VIN number, or whatever it is, model. At least we know that it's a 1-for-1 and not extra. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions by any other councilman about it? No. Roll call vote, please.
Sassy,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadrick,
Yes.
Council President Bushieri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 23-208 is our 2022 annual audit. All members of the council have received the audit report. We actually have a member of our auditing team here. If there's any questions regarding that, so I have a motion for resolution 23-208.
Move it.
Moved. May I have a second?
Can we have a discussion?
After we,
Actually, second.
Yes.
okay, second by Ms. DeStacy. Okay. Mom, do you want to come forward if the council members have specific questions? Or
How are you doing?
how are you? Thanks for coming.
Of course.
Maybe you can just give a quick explanation of the audit process and
Of course. Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm here today to present the audit. And as you know, all municipalities and counties in the state of New Jersey are required to have an annual audit performed on their financial statements. And we, as the independent auditors, are required to give an opinion on the financial statements that's provided by township as to whether they're fairly stated. So what happens in an audit? There's generally 3 phases to an audit. So there's the planning phase, field work, and then there's reporting. As the name might indicate, during the planning phase, we plan for the audit. This involves us obtaining an understanding of the entity that's under audit. We do that by understanding the entity's processes and internal controls. And that way we can assess areas of risk, areas where there's risk of material misstatements to the financial statements. We also review minutes, and we also do preliminary analytical procedures to see if there's any big variances in terms of balance sheet items or revenues, expenses from the previous year that maybe we can target or audit on. Then we design our audit procedures to target those assessed risk. Typically in a municipality, one of the more risky areas that we usually identify is in terms of tax revenue, because that's where the bulk of your revenue comes in. So we do have a lot of audit procedures that's focused on that area. That's just an example. So during field work, we gather audit evidence to support our opinion that we eventually arrive at. And how do we do that? We have to perform various audit procedures, one of which is the test of internal controls. Now, I know that, a lot of the misconceptions out there is that we look at every single transactions. There's no way we can do that because we'll be pretty much parked at the, the town hall for most of the year, and the cost to the taxpayers would be astronomical. So we test on a sample basis. One example of a test of control would be, we would review vouchers to make sure that it's being approved and going through all the proper channels, and it all has the proper supporting invoices, et cetera. And, also another misconception that I want to highlight is that some people believe that auditors are part of the entity's internal controls, which is not true, because the fact that we as the auditor are required to be independent, and as part of our audit procedure, we have to evaluate the effectiveness of the internal control. If we are part of the internal control, we can't be independent.
So let me just interject for a quick question. So the municipality will say, here's our process, here's our internal controls, and then you pick random samplings to make sure that those purchase orders, those invoices followed those policies and those internal.
Exactly. So if your policies, your standard operating procedures is saying that, well, the first level of review is all the department head approves your requisitions, and then it gets moved on to the finance office or the business administration. Then it gets on the bills list, whether it's approved by the mayor or the council. Then we make sure that every step of the way where you're saying that someone, a dedicated person, is approving those vouchers before payments are made.
Okay.
So also we all perform substantive procedures. What that means is we test balances. So let's say that you, on the balance sheet that's presented to us, that's under audit, it's saying that you have $1 million in cash, for example, in your current fund. Then we have to verify that whether we tie that out to a bank reconciliation that's prepared by your finance administration, or we tie that to the bank statements, we verify that you have that balance is valid. Another example would be if you're saying that you have X amount that's due to the county in terms of money owed for county taxes payable, then we send a confirmation to the county to verify that amount is in fact owed at us at the end of the year. Same thing with any tax balances. So one of the bigger receivables that's on your balance sheet would be your tax receivables, delinquent taxes. So we send out a random selection of a sample to random residents, taxpayers, to verify that is this balance valid as of December 31st.
Oh, okay.
And then
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Sure.
On the random submissions, the letters sent out to random residents, what is your response level as a percentage?
Response level is low, so we do two types of verifications. We do what we call a negative verification and a positive verifications. So the negative verifications are usually, we do it on balances that are smaller, so that doesn't require a response, meaning the letter will say that if you are in agreement to it, you don't need to respond. However, if you're not in agreement, you can respond. And then we also send out what we call positive verification, which we target those on the larger delinquent balances, asking them that they have to respond. And then if they don't respond within a certain period of time, we send a second request. So, but the response rate for the, maybe I'll estimate maybe 10% overall.
Yeah, that's not surprising though, because there's no real requirement for them to respond.
Most people get them, they get really nervous about it, saying that, oh, it's from a collection agency.
Oh, yeah, because it's you. Yeah.
We get phone calls all the time, and when they hear that, oh, this is not a bill or whatever, they usually just ignore it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see.
Any more questions?
No.
Okay.
I have a question. Is there anything in your audit that would normally uncover or verify like a waste, fraud, and abuse issue?
Well, we are required during, throughout the normal process of the audit that we would normally do on a financial statement audit, that if we notice anything, yes, we will report it, but there is no additional procedures that we would do unless, during planning phase or unless during discussion with either administration or somebody comes forward and say, hey, I think there's a problem in this area, then we might target and focus, do more testing in that area.
Thanks. Do you have anything else more that you were gonna talk about or not?
Oh, so, no, I just want to add a couple more things.
Yep.
And because we're in the state of New Jersey, there's also a compliance component to New Jersey, auditing requirements in New Jersey. What I mean is, for example, New Jersey has a 48-hour deposit compliance rule. So we have to develop a test that makes sure that all the receipts that's collected at the township is deposited within 48 hours. So there's all these components to the audit, and after audit is field work is completed, then the final phase is we give an opinion on the financial statements, and that's what I'm here to report tonight. So you have what we call an unqualified opinion or clean opinion on the financial statements, meaning that there are no material misstatements, as we can tell from your financial statements that's been presented to us. In terms of your financial condition as of the end of the year, calendar year 2022, you had a strong year. You started out in the beginning of the year on January 1st, 2022, with $6.8 million in fund balance, and ended up with the year December 31st with $7.9 million in fund balance. You anticipated or utilized $900,000 of fund balance to support your 22 budget, and you were able to regenerate that. Plus an additional $1.1 million. And most of that was because of you got, there's varying components. You have $120,000 you received from FEMA reimbursements. You also got a significant amount in terms of the sale of surplus properties. And then all of that is offset by the drop in also the unexpended balance of the 2021 appropriation reserve that was lapsed.
What's your recommendation as far as fund balance versus percentage of total budget? Like, do you have a recommendation that when you do an audit, like what's a healthy fund balance percentage wise?
Most towns have, I would say not a formal documentation. They might just have an informal rule of thumb. I do have a couple of towns that have a formal fund balance policy. They usually, and it varies, right? Depends on what their needs are. Some keep it to, 3 months average of expenditures. Some keep it, well, that's, I think for towns that are kind of very smaller.
Yeah, they might not have their own police department.
Yeah, some
might not have their own DPW. Yeah.
Like 20 to 25%.
Okay.
Some could be higher depending on what your debt policy is as well.
Okay.
Because if you go out and consistently issue debt and you need to have ratings done every few years, the rating agencies like to see that
Higher.
Healthy balance, healthy reserves.
So do you have a recommendation then, or you don't give a recommendation for that? Okay, that's fine. You don't have to. I just was curious if you did. Okay.
Because every town is
different.
and you can't compare out.
Okay, yeah.
In terms of your collection rate, it improved from last year. So you went from 96.4% to 96.9%. So that's also part of the factor in your increase in fund balance. Because the change in that slight percentage, you were able to collect approximately $300,000 more in tax revenue. So that's it in terms of the finance. Before, does anybody have any questions before I?
Yeah, I
I
do. I just, and I don't want you to take these questions personally at all or anything, but how many years have you been auditing you yourself?
19.
No, just you yourself.
19 years.
You've been doing it 19 years. No other partners have done it in 19 years other than you.
You mean our personal funds or just in general? She's been auditing.
I wanted her eyes. her own two eyes, how many years has she been auditing?
Myself, I've been
No.
doing this for 19 years.
Vernon,
Oh, Vernon,
Vernon is Vernon.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, you didn't say Vernon.
We, our firm, I think first began for Vernon Township in 2007 or 2008, if I remember correctly. I might be off a
Okay.
little bit. And Vernon Township, before I became a partner, I was probably in like part of the audit team for say half of that time.
So you yourself have been the partner in charge of our audit for how many years?
This will be my second year.
Second year. And before you, the partner in charge, how many years?
The partner in charge before me, that would have been Bud Jones, and he was since inception.
Since
And we had a change in rotation and partner in the middle, and he was probably on the account for, I'm guessing here, 5-6 years, but I can give you a more accurate number if I go back and check my data. And then, there's been rotations.
Okay.
So overall, there's been 3 partners on the.
Three partners over the last 16 years.
Yes.
So on average about, well, you've only been 2. So the other 2 are probably about 5 to 7 years apiece.
You've only been 2 as a senior partner, but you've been part of the team longer than 2?
Yeah, part of the team as like a staff member or manager on the team.
How long have you been part of the team?
Probably, if like we're counting, I guess 15 years, like 16,
So all the way,
like
Yeah.
7 or 8, like half of that.
Okay.
And this is just based on guessing, like.
that's fine. I just believe, one, I think we should be looking at different auditor firms every 5 to 7 years. And if it's going longer, that there is at least a change in a partner who's overseeing the audit. I don't like the idea of having the same person overseeing the audit for an extended period of time, because there's relationships that are made. And sometimes when those relationships are made, it's tough to say, hey, you're doing something wrong here. And so that's a rule of thumb that I've always felt with. I've been fought on it in the past and lost the fight numerous times, but
There are some of our clients we have about 7 partners that do government audits.
Mhm.
And we do have rotations on some of our clients that would prefer to have a fresh set of eyes,
Mhm.
so to speak, every few years.
And do you ask the mayor or the council president if there's anything specific they would like to have looked into a little bit deeper before you start your audit?
Usually we send out a FROG questionnaire, at the beginning of the audit, and 2 of the people that we routinely send it to would be the mayor and the council
Okay.
president.
Okay.
So that kind of, if we get anything back that, sends a red flag,
Mhm.
have further discussion and possibly look further into that area.
Thank you.
I have a question, about the flagging of lack of controls and segregation of duties. Can you address?
Sure, I can. Do you want me to just go through all the recommendations and we can discuss them? Okay. All right, so the first recommendation is having an adequate segregation of duties. And so I just have to preface this by saying that a lot of our clients, in terms of our municipal clients, do have this recommendation. And the reason for that is you're trying to balance budgetary constraints versus providing the necessary service to the residents and versus hiring enough support staff in order to segregate every function of the recording treasury functions. So specifically with Vernon, the reason that there is a segregation of duty comment is not, we're not saying that there's anything wrongdoing going on. We're saying that there is a risk and we're obligated to report that there is a risk, right? So each of the department collects their own cash or receipts and issue their own permits or receipts. And the only way to kind of mitigate this is to have a central cashier. So now you have to think about, well, do you want to hire an additional staff person or two to have that central cashier? And also the convenience to your residents, right? So think of if you've ever been to, a bigger like state agency, a state department where you need to go to a window and hand in your application, get a ticket, go to your payment, set desk and say, okay, here's my ticket. I have to pay $78, whatever, however much it is. Get the receipt, go back to the window and then say, here's my proof of receipt. Now, can you issue my permit?
Right.
So that's just an example, right? So like I said, it's just, you have to evaluate whether between your budgetary constraints and convenience to your residents and whether it makes economical sense, pros and cons. Okay.
I mean, what you're saying is that this is a recommendation that is seen frequently in audits for townships of smaller size, because they can generally subdivide the duties of personnel to handle incoming and outgoing, rather than having to hire a register.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. So I know.
Yeah,
Does that answer your
my
question?
concern is that it's been a consistent deficiency in the audit since as far back as I could go is 2010. And I feel that we, as the council, should be requesting of the CFO compliance.
But you're not saying it's a deficiency, are you?
We're saying that it's a risk, it's a potential risk.
It's a potential risk, but if it's showing up on numerous towns, or it's not Vernon specific, and also it's not,
No,
Not a violation of.
you're saying basically we do have adequate staffing for that segregation of duties. It could be better, but we have adequate staffing for it.
you do have, all your department sends monthly reports to your finance office that gets reconciled to their records to make sure that there's no discrepancy. That's an example of a control that they're doing to kind of mitigate this.
Have a check and balance.
It's noted in the audit that has not been happening, that there were issues with the tax, there were issues with the dog tags. So my question.
That's separate from, I guess, the other recommendations. We can go into each and every one of them.
I'm just trying to verify that there seems to be a lack of control. And that's a basic accounting principle, that there should be counter controls of these activities. I'm not
saying
worried
those are
about other
happening.
towns. I'm worried about
But
Vernon.
she's saying that's happening here.
No, she didn't say that.
She just said that before. She said that they're going between departments with reconciling things like they're supposed to be doing.
And
Isn't that what you just said?
Yes.
Okay.
but the audit says that there were inconsistencies with the files.
Well, let's let her address that when she gets to it, I guess.
Yeah, the audit states in it that there were, I'll read it.
You gotta compare the risk, the cost of hiring another
Yeah.
person just to do.
It's the risk of money not being handled correctly. In my opinion, as an accounting major, that's not acceptable. It's just not. You talk about in the audit that the treasurer's records were not in order. The dog tags were not in order.
That's-
These are all
separate-
things.
they're
No,
separate
they're not. They're all
recommendations, though.
part of controls.
They are separate recommendations. That's why it's listed 1, 2, 3, 4. The adequate segregation of duties by maintaining respect to the according and treasury functions is one in and of itself. That has nothing to do with 2, 3, or 4. Am I correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
But they're all audit controls and it's showing there's deficiencies in the audit controls.
I'm not hearing that.
I'm not hearing that, but
Okay.
maybe you can explain the difference between them if you're able.
Sure. So if I can go into the second recommendation, the second recommendation is, has to do with the tax lien receivable records that's, kept by the tax office not being in agreement with the, treasurer's general ledger. And that resulted from, I believe, I don't exactly remember how many years ago, but several years ago when you had the revaluation and then all the block and lots numbers got changed and there was merging of subdivisions and I think there's some division of subdivision and that got a little bit out of whack, so to speak, in the tax software. So that's why it is. And I know that in speaking with the tax collector and your finance office, they are trying to work with the I guess between the assessor and also the tax software company to try to resolve this. But
That's been an ongoing
there's been just
resolution. It's slow.
I
It's very
think
slow going.
block and lots that it's a slow process.
Can I make a recommendation in the future that the explanation be given as well as, you're just saying here, you recommend that it be reconciled monthly, but you didn't explain that it was the failure of,
So I can give more detail.
have a complete picture.
Okay.
See, the consistency of everybody's saying the court, more care will be taken. Management, extra care will be taken. These are all things that to me say there are faults. You don't like the word deficiencies. There are deficiencies in the checks and balances. And I disagree with my fellow councilmen or women that don't agree with that. But if this were an audit when I was in banking, this would be a major issue. All right, all of these things. So, go ahead.
Okay. The dog tags that were not issued by the end of the year, I think we found out after the fact, after the audit's been issued, that I guess the animal control officer had health-related issues and didn't know where the dogs, I guess the people in the building didn't know where the tags were placed and they found them subsequently. So this has been resolved. And I know going through these recommendations, a corrective action plan is also in the agenda tonight. So I guess if,
Yes.
we can go over that. And then if there's more questions, I'll be happy to answer. And the last one is the court receipts. Just to be clear with the court, by statute, the court is an autonomous body from township operation. A township, as a matter of fact, cannot have any control over what the court does in terms of their receipts, collection, processing of payments, any of that. So I think during a time frame when the court administrator was out due to health reason, certain things kind of fell through the cracks and some of the deposits were outside the 48-hour windows.
There is one last thing I would like to note. It's reported on here, and this is a biggie to me, that contributions from employees were not shown correctly as contributions to their pension plan. That's big. That is unacceptable, that there should be a discrepancy in any kind of employees' money, where it goes.
I think we tested several employees and it was maybe.
Your report says that.
And the amount wasn't significant. And I
Again,
know
I wasn't that,
township was in.
I wasn't that noted, and this makes it sound like it's a big problem, the way.
I will,
Here.
I will, take your feedback and I'll make sure we are more detailed in terms of the description next year.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Pat, any other comments?
No,
No, we're good.
no, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for your time and
Thank you.
we have some other questions when we get to the next resolution.
Okay, so I'll just stay until the corrective action plan. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so for resolution 23-208, may I have a roll call vote?
Move.
Second.
No, we already did that. It's on the floor.
Oh, that's right, we did. Sorry.
Okay, roll call vote.
Councilmember DeTasi,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
Yes,
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadrick,
Yes.
Council President Bushieri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
You. Okay, resolution 23-209, corrective action plan for our 2022 audit. May I have a motion?
Move.
Moved by Mr. Sparta, second by Mr. Rizzuto. Comments and questions about the correction plan?
I would just like to add that the report should be presented to the council with actions taken. Not just create a plan, but actions that are actually being taken and when they were taken.
I don't know if we can do that. Take action before.
I mean, making action plans.
Plan, or we approve it.
I think you probably have to.
We have to approve the action plan first.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions about the corrective action plan? No, Mr. Rizzuto?
no, I'm sure the chief financial officer and mayor and anybody else that's involved will be able to put together a plan that will be effective.
Okay. All right.
DeTasi,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
Yes,
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadrick,
Yes.
Council President Bushieri.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you for coming. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 10. Public hearing, second reading of ordinance 23-18. Ordinance of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 5 of the Code of the Township of Vernon entitled Administration of Government to update reorganization and term start date. May I have a motion to open the public hearing for ordinance 23-18?
Move it.
Moved by Mr. Tadrick. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparta. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, the floor is open. If anyone in person wishes to comment on ordinance 23-18? Anyone virtually? Marcy?
Yes, Jesse Palladini.
Okay. Ms. Palladini?
Good evening. Just exactly what is this about, please? Because I don't have access to the agenda right now.
This was a change from Trenton regarding the reorganization. The previous
Oh, right.
regulation was January 1st and now it's January 15th.
Yep, right. Okay, I know what that is. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else?
I don't have any other hands up.
Are we gonna be passing new updated resolutions and changing the term dates?
The term dates is set forth in the codes and statutes are by years. So it's not by,
Not by.
so actually what will end up happening this year is there'll probably be for certain appointments, a 2-year time period where there will be one vacancy. And that body will have to determine how they want to handle that vacancy and whether they want to consider business during that vacancy or adjourn until that vacancy is filled.
What about council members? Cause they are by date.
Council members would
Dates are in the resolutions.
serve, I'll check and get back to you on that with respect to the current council members and when their terms expire.
Thank you.
Josh, will I be able to
I'm
vote on this, as I wasn't here for the first reading?
It's within your discretion if you want to vote or not.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public? Close the floor to public comment.
Move it.
Moved by Mr. Patrick, have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Stassi, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? No. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2318? Moved by Mr. Tadrick, second by Mr. Stassi. Any comments or questions? I think we already had those. Okay. Mr. Rizzuto, any comments or questions?
No, this is sent down from
Trenton,
Trent, or sent up from Trent, and we're kind of stuck with it.
Yep, unfortunately. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Stassi,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
Yes,
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tabrick.
Yes.
Council President Bushiari.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Public comment, these next 5 minutes are a public comments time for any item. It does not have to be agenda related. Anyone from the public wishing to speak would just come forward and state your name. May I have a motion to open the floor?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Nastassi, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Tadrick. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion carries. And is there anyone in person that would like to address the council? Come on forward. Just come to the microphone and just state your name.
My name's Deborah Smorto, and I own the Fields of Green Montessori School on Sand Hill Road.
Okay.
We have been there in the town here for 26 years and at that location for almost 20 years. And recently, I've come to the end of my rope with the issue regarding speed limit in that area where we are. Currently, well, for the past 20 years, I've tried to have things changed. We've had multiple accidents in the area, lots of near misses, et cetera. And then they finally did a traffic study and lowered the speed limit from 45 to 35, but they changed it right at our parking lot. And the warning sign for the 35 miles per hour was only 20 feet in front of it. And when you come around the curve, as you might know, who knows Sand Hill Road, you don't see it till you're right.
Okay.
So just, I felt like it was a Band-Aid. And then finally on the straw that's breaking the camel's back is on August 6th at 2:30 in the afternoon, there was a drunk driver accident on our property. He tore out the guardrail, went onto our front lawn, took our entire sign, our lamppost, the historical marker, as Mr. Palladini knows about. A fence, boulders, debris flying everywhere. I have camera footage if you'd ever like to see that at some point. And I had found, after reviewing our camera footage, that my son, who works for me also, had been in that zone, that spot, 6 minutes prior, and he would have been seriously harmed and or killed. And I already lost a daughter 4 years ago, and I really don't want to lose my last child. Not only that, had that been a weekday at 2:30 in the afternoon, there would have been multiple
Parents coming.
with parents and children. So what I'm requesting at this point, and I'm not planning on backing down, and I've spoken to Mr. Burrell and to the police department, I'm requesting that we make that entire area a school zone and 25 miles per hour. And they told me recently, I got one word back from Lieutenant, and he said that they've agreed to move the 35-mile warning sign up so people could see it more and make it a school zone, but that's not acceptable to me at this point. I want 25 miles per hour, and I would like it started at the church where people can see it and respond properly before they get to our area, and then also up the road at some distance so people can properly respond. And so I was also told that in order to get this ball rolling now, I have to come in front of you because needs to be an ordinance or something that has to come through you guys in order to have that done. So I just, usually people wait till somebody dies before they jump into action, and I'm not willing to do that for all my families.
I appreciate that, and it's definitely something the council can review and discuss with the mayor and see how to proceed. You know, I think
Yeah.
it's something we should definitely talk about.
Yes, she and I have discussed this
Mhm.
at length, and I've got my police department,
Okay,
engineers, traffic people going through the process.
okay,
What we really need to get that done. And I told them the final analysis, though, once we do our work, we'll present that to the council.
okay.
And the council will have to finally make a decision. And I think that she's just coming before us
Yeah.
now to say, hey, look, I want you guys to know that this is something that I'm not gonna wait for until the mayor presents it. I want, she'll probably be back again. We're very sensitive to what
Okay.
she's saying, what she's asking for.
Do you have a timeline of when you think you might have a ordinance for us?
I would say probably,
I know that, they're gonna put up another, traffic strip again, right over by
I'm
the
sure
area.
like one of those monitors.
Yeah.
we gotta do a traffic study.
Monitor that again also. I know, but they're planning on doing it again because,
Is that a statutory requirement before you make a change?
yeah, we need like a traffic study. And the last study was the last time when they changed it from 45 to 30.
Some years ago. we
No,
did.
it was only a year or two ago, wasn't it?
So they are doing another one.
Okay.
We did reach out to council.
Operational issue?
What?
Isn't this an operational issue? If it's a council issue, I think we could call it right now and vote on it and say, do it. But are we gonna get kicked back that this is an operational issue?
No, we need an ordinance.
No, I
We're
think,
preparing an ordinance.
if I could, real quick, there's a procedure that has to be followed in order for this to be
Okay.
accomplished, and that is what is happening right now. The police department's doing their part of it, the engineer is doing his part of it, and the plan is as soon as the procedures can be completed, as quickly as possible, to have an ordinance presented to the council to be adopted.
So I think it should be expedited for next meeting.
Well, as long as you,
I'd like to see.
as long as you meet the procedural time requirements that are there. I don't know offhand what the date for the traffic study is, but it probably 1 or 2 years ago may have to do a new one, unfortunately.
Is that a New Jersey statute, like
It-
requirement?
There are statutory requirements to declare an area a school zone.
Okay,
Okay,
that's was something we need to look into
There-
and then communicate that to Ms. Smarto if there's statutory requirements for
But
that.
there's a statutory requirement to declare it a school zone, but is there a statutory requirement to change the speed
Lower
limit?
speed limit.
No,
Yeah,
there is?
I believe that there is. I don't think you can.
That's from what I was told.
The council adopts the speed limit, but there are also certain requirements to be made so that the council has the information to make
Like a
the
traffic
correct
study.
decision.
So did the council take?
I
it down to
understand your
35?
frustration, but if,
Is
you
there
know,
an
and we need
ordinance?
to, we need
Is-
to look into
hold on.
that. One moment, Mr.
Is-
Patrick.
Hold on, I'm not finished my question. You said it needs an ordinance to go from 45 to 35. So was there an ordinance by the council that took it from 45 to 35 is my first question.
They didn't ask me to come then, so I have no idea.
So I'm guessing there isn't.
You might not have had to.
I don't know
You-
one way or another.
Well, that's what I'm guessing there isn't. And
I
if
don't
there
know that
isn't,
it's-
why are we now?
I don't know
coming
that
up
it's
with
safe
this
to
ordinance?
guess at all. I mean,
I don't know. I'm asking a question. If
It's a
we
fair
took it down
question.
from 45 to 35, do we need an ordinance to do that?
Find out.
And if
Marcy
we
can find
didn't
out.
have an ordinance, why are we gonna have an ordinance now? School zone, I get. School zone, I
I'll
get.
find out the answer to the first question, which is, was the speed limit changed with an ordinance?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's important to know.
Yeah,
But
sure.
if there are statutory requirements as like a traffic study, if the New Jersey state statute says you have to have a traffic study done within a certain time frame, and when we do that research to see the traffic study was done X amount of years ago, but the New Jersey statute that's dictated by Trenton says you have to have it within 2 years, and we did it 3 years ago, then we have to follow that statute.
Well, then you need to find out when that last traffic.
And that's what Tina's doing right now. And that's what they're doing right now.
Traffic study is gonna start tomorrow, because I talked to the sergeant today before this meeting, and they are gonna set it up tomorrow to start for the new traffic.
How long does that have to occur?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it could be like a week, because you don't want to just do it for a day.
No, you need,
You can have some-
you need a
right.
significant time frame. I understand that. And there might be a statutory requirement on how long that occurs. So maybe we could just get a little background information and communicate that. If you want to email the business administrator, and she can definitely update you, right?
Yes.
This is what the process is. This is the last time we did it. This is the process. So then you're kept in the loop, because I think it's definitely important and it's definitely a safety issue. I completely agree with you. Unfortunately, the wheels of government don't always move as quickly as we'd like them to, but we can definitely keep you apprised of the process and make sure that we're, on time. If the traffic study has to be done for a week and then the next step, so we make sure there's no gaps in those steps and they move as quickly as possible. But I don't know if have you emailed anyone yet, or so maybe just write down your email address, and then Ms. Nows can message you and kind of just update you with the process, and that way, we're being transparent and keeping you in the loop so you know what's going on.
Is that traffic study just a car counter or a car counter with a speed counter?
No, it's it's all the speed.
It is speed counter.
Yes.
Do we not have a portable speed camera?
Well, that's what the sergeant's putting out tomorrow.
A portable
Okay.
speed camera,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
That,
Has the-
Yeah, we're not just gonna have a police officer sitting there doing it.
No,
because-
but
Makes sense.
that records the speeds for each car that passes?
And it also gives them the flashing sign so they know how.
I don't know about that. Sometimes
Great.
the strip, I don't know which one they're using for tomorrow. I don't know if it's the one that just has the strip that records it, or it's actually gonna be the,
Fine,
you know, the sign that actually tells you your speed as you're going by.
but please,
May I say one more thing?
sure, go ahead.
So after that last traffic study, he said, well, people really don't speed there, and so we're gonna just lower it to 35. And in the meantime, there have been multiple more accidents. Every single day, there are, horns blaring, people swerving, stepping on their brakes because they don't see people stopping and going into our. I'm warning you that someone's going to get killed, and if we just do this process thing and wait forever again. I've been waiting 20 years and I'm just tired.
I don't think you started this process though, so I hear your frustration. We are bound by what the statute requires. So if we have to do a traffic study, then we're bound by that, but we can definitely make sure there's no gaps in the timeline. Like as soon as that traffic study is done, we can start drafting an ordinance, put it on the agenda as soon as possible and definitely move it as quickly. I definitely hear your
Can
concern.
I make another suggestion, Tina?
Sure.
Is it possible for them to look at that, to make that a three-way stop there? Because that will definitely solve the problem.
I can find out.
Yeah, because it's really just a yield and then two right of ways.
Exactly.
That's a town road, correct?
Both road, no,
County road.
County road?
But you guys work together on it. It's very confusing.
Drew Mountain at the top is a county road. Is it a county road at the bottom too? 41.
I don't know.
I don't know which road you're talking about. I know that,
Drew Mountain Road, you probably go up and down.
Lower Drew Mountain.
Mountain
Yeah,
Road,
Lower Drew Mountain.
but, is it
Sand
Sand?
Hill,
Sand Hill is a town road. I
Sand Hill's a
don't know
town.
about True Mountain.
I think on Drew,
The county.
I think Drew Mountain, Lower Drew Mountain Road is 25 miles an hour already.
it is. I don't know if Lower Drew Mountain is a county road though. Upper,
No.
Upper is.
upper is.
Yeah.
So
Drew
that-
Mountain
so
Road.
it- and that just adds another layer of complexity. And I feel your frustration. I definitely do. And I think that's a good point, maybe making a three-way stop, Brad.
Yeah, I mean.
That's a good idea.
You
So-
have a tough time getting up over 25 miles an hour after you stop at one of those intersections.
Mhm.
And you'd have to slow down as you approach it. So just a recommendation. I am not a traffic
They
and
stop coming off of Drew Road.
three-way stop,
Stop at-
all stops all ways.
Almost at your.
They would be stopping, going back on, if you're on your right, stopping if you're going to the left and stopping at Drew Mountain. It's a
There's already,
three-way stop.
there's already a stop at Drew Mountain, I believe.
No, it's a yield.
No, it's a
yield?
yield.
Okay.
It's a yield.
That's what made me think about the three-way stop.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
Okay, so I think that, yeah, I mean, definitely. So please, give Ms. Nass your email address.
I'll be in.
And,
Watch.
and we can keep you updated and maybe just explain the process to her once you know those like if there are real timelines. And let us know when the last traffic study was done and what the statute requires. So that way, it's not gonna be immediate, but I think, I definitely want to keep you up.
Starts in a week.
Yeah,
That's what I'm worried about.
yeah, I hear you.
I appreciate Mr. Tadrick and Mr. Burrell's feelings about the subject strongly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, go ahead.
Hi, Jessica Benedetto, Berry Lakes. I was wondering if Mayor Burrell could have an officer frequent the area in the meantime until you guys work out the traffic study. Sounds like what's going on there is pretty serious.
We can check with our chief of police, see what we can do, okay?
Okay, that would be good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Else in person that was, yep, come on forward.
Hi,
Please state your
my
name.
name is Jan Messick and I live in Pleasant Valley Lake. And I'm here regarding the dog sanctuary. Opened up, I believe, last November. It's my understanding there's about 25 to 30 dogs being housed there. Level of care they receive is questionable. This is across the street from my house. Incessant barking. These dogs, this property is not fenced. These dogs run loose. I guess my question to you folks is, I don't understand how this is a permitted or acceptable use in a residential area. It's it's becoming a real issue. These dogs, when they get loose, they appear to run in packs. You'll see 4 or 5, 6 of them. They went after my neighbor's cat. She's lucky she was able to grab the cat and get him inside in time. It's just becoming a real terrible situation. My understanding is the level of care that these dogs receive is really questionable. Personally, I have not, but my neighbors have called animal control many times. And I understand it's a difficult situation. By the time animal control arrives, the dogs have dispersed. But they did tell my neighbors on several occasions, well, you catch the dog and then we could do something about it. Well, they catch some of the dogs, animal control does come, picks them up, and the woman's fined $50 and gets the dog back. And here we go again. My other question is licensing. How can you have a kennel in a residential area housing this many animals? Isn't there licensing requirements, insurance requirements, fencing, most importantly, some way to contain these?
Have you gone to zoning?
Excuse me?
Have you called zoning about this?
Have I called whom?
Zoning.
Oh, zoning. I believe my neighbor did, yes. I personally did.
I had the same issue and with a neighbor, and you know, there are limits on how many animals you can have.
That's what I always thought.
Yeah, there are.
I mean, it's a
And-
large piece of property. It's about 5 acres. And I don't know if that factors into it, makes a difference or not. I don't know.
There's also requirements to be leashed. So I would definitely pursue it with zoning.
Well, we were also suggested to come to the council meeting and make ourselves be heard. So
Yes.
that's why I'm here. And since it wasn't on the agenda, we were under the impression that it was going to be. That's why a bunch of my neighbors.
Oh,
Yes, there.
and you can always check the agenda on Thursday. It's posted on our website.
Yeah, but you,
So you can always check, and it is something that I'm aware, the mayor is aware, the animal control officers are aware,
Yeah.
and it is going to be an agenda item.
okay.
So there's been some discussions. There was just some timing with summer and vacations and stuff, but it is something that is definitely a concern. You're not alone in that concern.
This is
you're not alone in that
the use of this property?
I'm not gonna comment on that because I'm not a zoning officer,
Okay.
but that is an avenue that we can look into.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, and it's definitely a concern. So it will be,
Yes.
yeah, it's definitely a concern. Do you have anything you want to add, Mayor?
Yeah, we've got a plan of action. It's a concern, council members and very specifically council president has actually spoken to me about it about 3 times. We've got a plan of action. I don't want to verbalize that tonight, but I will be giving the council, an update on this probably Friday,
Okay,
maybe.
yeah,
Because it's something we're gonna be implementing very soon.
Well, that I
See where we
appreciate.
are.
That makes me feel
And that'll address, some of the issues, is this a permissible use, what is there?
all of the, yeah,
All of those issues, those things will be addressed.
Okay, but then, and you're suggesting too that we take this to zoning as well?
if you want to reach out to zoning and ask questions, you're more than welcome to do that, definitely. I mean, it is, like I said, it is on the radar and there is something coming.
Okay, so you think it might be on the agenda for September?
Yes, it will be. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Welcome. Thank you for coming out. Is there anyone else in person that wishes to talk? Anyone virtually?
Don't have any hands up right now.
All right, seeing no other members of the public that wish to come. I'm sorry, what?
There are 2 hands, are there?
No, those are mute.
Oh, no, that's,
Oh, they're
there's
muted.
mics muted. Okay, seeing no other members of the public that wish to come forward, may I have a motion to
Motion.
close the floor?
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. Stassi. May I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Mr. Sparta. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Floor is closed. We'll go on to number 12, mayor's comments.
Madam Council President and other distinguished council members, my comments tonight will focus on just 2, but I consider to be important matters. Members of the council, based on my knowledge of your caring attitudes and your concerns about the issue of substance abuse, I have little doubt that you will be pleased to know that in coordination with the Sussex County-based Center for Prevention and Counseling, this year, our town will actively participate in the international observance of Overdose Awareness Day, which is on August the 31st. In addition, I have made a decision to extend Vernon Township's participation to include the support of National Recovery Month, which promotes efforts to bring awareness of our county's life-saving addiction recovery resources and services. While there are a host of symbolic things that our town will work on in coordination with the Sussex County-based Center for Prevention and Counseling, the most visible manifestation of the municipality's support will be the wording on the municipal's electric message board in front of Municipal Center and the illumination of this electric message board in the National Recovery Month's color of purple. It is my hope that our municipality's efforts will contribute to letting those who suffer from the disease of addiction know that recovery, quite frankly, is possible, and contribute to letting those who have lost a family member or a friend to overdose know that we understand and that we care. Matter number 2. For various reasons, before I assumed the position of mayor, our town had never had its own formal annual observance to honor the memory of those who our country lost on that dreadful day on September the 11th, 2001. When I discovered this, I decided to change that. And in 2020, I worked close with the Municipal Director of Community Affairs, Mrs. Michelle Downtain, to plan and host Vernon's first annual 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony. Additionally, it was my hope that before my 4-year term as mayor was over, that I would be able to somehow establish a meaningful, a significant foundation that would be viewed and accepted by the town as the start of a permanent Vernon Township 9/11 Remembrance Memorial. On tonight, I'm extremely pleased to report to the council and to the public that after 3+ years of trying to make this hope a reality, with the help and focused efforts of the Director of Community Affairs, Downtain, along with a very valuable assistant of Mrs. Vernon Paolini, who is a Vernon resident, a retired Vernon School District educator, and a person who is currently working at the National 9/11 Memorial and Museum. With the help and focused efforts of these two outstanding individuals, Vernon has finally been successful in acquiring the key special item that we wanted to obtain and use as the foundation for a permanent Vernon Township 9/11 Remembrance Memorial. That key special item is a seedling from the 9/11 survivor tree. The 9/11 survivor tree is a tree that was severely damaged with snapped roots and burned branches that was discovered at Ground Zero in October of 2021. This tree was dug up and removed from the rubble of Ground Zero and placed in the care and treatment of the New Jersey City Department of Parks and Recreation. After 9 years of nursing this tree back to recovery and rehabilitation, in 2020, it was returned to and replanted at the site of the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. New soft limbs extended from the knotted and twisted stumps of the new recovered and surviving tree, creating a visible demarcation between the tree's past and the tree's present. Today, the tree stands as a living reminder of resilience, of survival, and of rebirth. Since 2010, the 9/11 Memorial and Museum has received thousands of requests for seedlings from this special tree. Each year, hundreds of these requests are received from not just municipalities and organizations in our country, but also from countries and organizations throughout the world. However, the 9/11 Memorial and Museum grants only a small number of these requests each year. And for 2023, Vernon Township was one of the fortunate recipients of a seedling from the 9/11 survival tree. On Tuesday, August the 22nd, I dispatched a municipal delegation to New York City to take possession of our 9/11 survivor tree seedling and to transport it with care to Vernon Township. consistent with the 9/11 Memorial and Museum's requirements that this special tree be handled with and given the best possible care. Our 9/11 survivor tree seedling has been professionally planted in front of the Vernon Municipal Center by a Vernon located and New Jersey Landscape Contractors Association approved company, the Notchwood Landscaping Company. On behalf of the residents of Vernon Township, I thank Notchwood Landscape for providing this very valuable professional service at no charge to the Vernon taxpayers. At this year's annual 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony, we will be dedicating this survivor tree seedling as Vernon's living memorial to the 3 Vernon residents who were killed during the 9/11 attack, as well as all of the other victims of 9/11 and their families. This survivor tree seedling will also serve as Vernon's living reminder of the resilience and survival of our nation and of the American spirit. This year, 9/11 comes on a regular workday. And so as to give as many individuals as possible the opportunity to be a part of this historic survivor tree seedling dedication, we will be hosting the municipality's annual 9/11 ceremony on Saturday morning, September the 9th at 9 a.m. I invite all of the council members and all of the other Vernon residents to join with me as part of this historic event. That concludes my comments for tonight. Thank you for not forgetting.
Council comments. Start with Ms. DeStacy.
No comments.
No comments. Okay. Mr. Sparta.
I just want to let the council president and other council members and public know that next meeting I will not be here. I'll vacationing in North Carolina with my daughter who's turning 21 the weekend before. So if there is a quorum issue, I will zoom in, but I prefer not.
Okay, well, hopefully you won't have to, but we'll be here. I'll be here.
That's all.
Rick,
No,
do you have any comments?
Nope.
Udo?
No comment.
No comments? I just want to reiterate, hearing from the concerned citizens today about some quality of life issues, the animal sanctuary in Pleasant Valley Lake and the accident and the safety issue regarding fields of green are just really important. I just want to reiterate that. I wish that there weren't issues regarding these 2 circumstances, but I really appreciate members of the community coming forward, reaching out to the mayor, reaching out to the council regarding these issues and having that communication between and working together because that's really, there's a lot of different things that government is involved in. And this is one of really the most important things, quality of life and safety. And both of those issues really point to that for members of our community. So I'm glad, I was glad to meet and speak with those 2 citizens and look forward to resolution in both areas. And may I have a motion to close?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Sparta, second by Mr. Tadrick. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
I don't know.